Hey y'all, it is Tuesday. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so figure out the date. I don't know, it's the 20th something. Almost going on 8 o'clock in the morning, 54 degrees, cloudy, and but it's all good. We actually had a thunderstorm come through Alabama last night where I live, and probably around somewhere after 10 o'clock last night. I had not been in bed that long, and it just started raining, thundering, and lightning, and it sounded wonderful. You know, that's my favorite time for thunderstorms, is at bedtime. But anyways, all is good. I'm on my way to work. I didn't think I had to work today. It's a good thing I checked my calendar yesterday. I was thinking I had this whole week off, but because of last week, when I was getting back on board with house cleaning, I was supposed to have cleaned for this lady last Tuesday, and I called her, and while we were on the phone, she said, "You know what, Becky, you really don't sound like you need to be coming here, so let's just put us off till next week." So hello, here I am. But anyways, it's all good. And I talked to several people yesterday. And before I go there, now, I know this is in the New Testament, and maybe Hebrews, I'm not exactly sure, but the verse goes something like this: be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, goeth about seeking whom he may devour. Okay, just keep that right there in mind. I'm just talking out loud, y'all, going to work. And I've got these thoughts going through my mind, so I figured I'd share them. There is that verse. And then there's also the verse that says, when talking about the devil, that he comes for no other reason than to steal, kill, and destroy. One more verse. The Lord also says, through many trials and tribulations must we go through before we enter his presence. Now, are all these verses I just quoted verbatim? No, not exactly, but that's the gist. Anyways, so first thing yesterday morning, I get on the phone with my son. He actually calls me, and he was livid. He was very, very upset. And the reason being, he's a truck driver, and he had already requested to be off on Thanksgiving and to be home. Well, anyways, he was here over the weekend, and he had already told us. He says, "Well, I've got to run a load to Pensacola, Florida, and after that I'll be on my way back home. Should be back home by Tuesday." I'm thinking, well and good, all well and good. So yesterday he calls me and says, "Mom," he said, "you're not going to believe what they did to me." He says, "I've already delivered in Pensacola, and now they're telling me I've got a load going to Texas." He said, I'm livid. He said, "I had to pull off the road because," I'm not going to say his language, but he was upset about it. He said, I'm foaming at the mouth mad. And I just, I knew he was upset. And I was like, gosh, dog, I believe he'll be able to make it to Texas and still be back, by Thanksgiving, by Thursday. But he's going to be worn out by the time he gets home. But anyways, and I just told him, I said, "Jeffrey," I said, "darling, I said, just talk to the Lord about it. I'll be talking to the Lord about it and ask him to work something out. You know, it's going to be okay. No matter what, it's going to be okay. Just get your wits together. And so we were on and off the phone a couple of times. And long story short, the last call that I had with him, he says, okay, Mom, I got good news. He said, they've now told me that I don't have to go to Texas. They've got another load, Lower Alabama, that I can pick up, bring in, and I should be able to be home Tuesday evening, no later than Wednesday morning. I'm like, okay, Jeffrey, that's wonderful. God worked it out for you. So there's that one. And then I talked to Pam, and she had messaged me sometime last week and told me that her husband had had a spell or something, had fallen and broken his leg. And then yesterday morning she was on my mind, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to call her and see how she's doing. She sounded horrible. She just sounded frazzled. And Becky, she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. She said, you know, they're supposed to be sending him home. She said they tried to send him home the day before, and I told him, no, he's not coming home. Not yet. She says, because how am I supposed to take care of him and get him to physical therapy and all this and yada yada? And I said, it's going to be okay, Pam. It's going to be okay. God will see you through whatever the outcome. He'll see you through. So she was just beside herself, you know, wondering how she's going to take care of her husband, you know, getting him, you know, from their home back to physical therapy. And long story short, she also told me last night, she said it wasn't his leg that was broken, it was his hip, and they had to put the rod in there. But anyways, she called me last night and she sounded so much better. She says, Becky, she says, I am praising the Lord. She said they checked our insurance, yada yada, and found out that we do have good insurance, and now they're going to get physical therapy out there 3 times a week or something like that. She says, I have help. She said, but in the midst of it all, she says, I couldn't even think straight. So praise the Lord about that. And someone told me one time, this was a couple of years ago, the person that told me this said, you know, I've realized the older I get, when things seem to be going good and smooth and happy and whatnot, I had better prepare myself. I better brace myself. Because I know just around the curve, something else is going to hit. I never forgot that. Because that's so. And that's why the Lord tells us, be vigilant, be on the watch, be on the guard, because the devil is after us, folks. But although he is after us, the Lord tells us, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And when we have Christ on our side, when we've got Almighty God dwelling within our hearts, God has already got something worked out for whatever trial or difficulty we have to face. And I also told Pam and I told Jeffrey, I said, you know, back in August, when I was dealing with some stuff, and when all this came about for me back in August, I about lost it. I'm like, what am I going to do? How's this all going to work out? And you know, every negative thought that can go through your mind goes through your mind. It took me off guard. I wasn't prepared for it. And then after things kind of settled and I could see God working in our behalf, I had to ask the Lord to forgive me for losing it, knowing He was in control of it all and He was already working things out. But we all been there. We've all been there. You know, when a crisis or a problem hits, because we are flesh and we are so subject to lose it. We do. I don't know if I'm making sense to anybody, but just keep in mind, whatever we're going through, God always has our back. He always has our back. And it's you know, and I told Jeffrey this, and I told Pam this. I said, human man can make us every promise in the world and still fail miserably. You know, but one thing I do know, when God gives us a promise, He always comes through, no matter what. He always comes through. So, trying to share some encouragement, and yes, y'all, like I always say, give it back to me, because I need it just as much as the next person does. You know, we all have our moments. So, we got to stay positive. We got to stay focused. And even when we feel like throwing in the towel, don't. We shouldn't. Don't. The Lord loves us more than anyone ever has, and He always will. And He does want the best for us. And life is a struggle, folks. It's an uphill battle. And that's what I was telling someone, I think maybe this morning, you know. I said, you know, it seems like the older we get, the faster and harder the trials come. I said, but it's okay. God has our back, and no matter what we have to face, He'll see us through it. And I even told Pam last night, I said, okay, we know this isn't our first rodeo. This ain't your first rodeo. This isn't the first problem you've had to deal with. But God saw you through it, and He's worked it out for you. I said, keep it in mind, you know, because there's still going to be more problems coming. There's still more problems out ahead of us. But if we just continue to remember all the times that the Lord has delivered us and got us through, no matter, come what may, He will continue to do what He's always done. He says He will never leave us nor forsake us. And that's a wonderful thing. So, we will have church tonight, being that Thanksgiving is Thursday, and that's what our church decided to do, just to have it tonight, and then that gives the ladies time to do what they need to do on Wednesday to prepare for Thursday. You know how it goes. You prepare 24, 48 hours, cook for umpteen minutes or hours, and then you sit down, and in 10 minutes it's all said and done. Never ceases to amaze me. But it's okay. So I'm hoping y'all all are having a wonderful day, and everyone is well. So I'm not too far away from being to my cleaning, and I just want to put out a little bit of encouragement for y'all, because we need it, and I need it. None of us are alone in our problems, y'all. None of us. staying right by her mama. And then I have my sweet cousin that is staying right by her mama. Everybody's dealing with something, folks. But we got to remember each other in prayer also. All right, ladies. Y'all have a great day. Stay focused. Stay at the throne.